As you all know by now, James Harden was just traded to the Philadelphia 76ers in a blockbuster deal that included Ben Simmons going to the Brooklyn Nets. A lot of people really like this deal, but we've got some mixed opinions. In this video, we're going to be talking about why this James Harden deal was the worst of all time for the Philadelphia 76ers. At number 3, Joel Embiid, period. When it comes to the post, Embiid prefers to spend a large amount of time in the paint. Since 2016, post-ups have accounted for 34.3% of his possessions, and he's averaged 8.3 per game in this category. Embiid has been particularly effective in these post-up situations, hitting 50.6% from the field on 5.4 shots per game this season. The fact that Embiid averages 8.6 points per game on post-ups, or 33.7% of his total scoring output, is a result of his performance in this area. The success of Joel Embiid in the post-up game has been a driving force in the Philadelphia 76ers' rise to the top of the NBA in that particular type of play this season. This season, the Sixers have spent 8.5% of their possessions in the low post for an average of 9 possessions per game. Because post-ups are such an important component of the Philadelphia 76ers offense, Embiid's supporting cast has spent a substantial amount of time behind the arc as floor spacers, which has helped to his success. At number 2, Harden's reluctance to participate. Prior to the trade, Danny Green, Seth Curry, and Tobias Harris combined to make nearly 22% of their shots from outside the arc, averaging at least 3.5 attempts per contest. Over 60% of the threes were catch-and-shoot attempts, with an average of at least 2.8 attempts per game. Unfortunately for the Sixers, James Harden does not take many catch-and-shoot threes, as evidenced by his average of 1.9 per game since 2013, accounting for 20.9% of his total threes over that span. It's Harden's preference to take pull-up threes. He's made 74.7% of his threes this season from the pull-up range, for an average of 6.8 per game. Harden's unwillingness to take catch-and-shoot three-pointers will be a source of contention. Imagine if a club decides to double-team Joel Embiid in the low post, and Embiid then sends the ball out to James Harden in the high post. As a result, the other team will have a few extra seconds to come back to Harden because he will not take the three right away as a result of this. As a result, it decreases the likelihood of Embiid successfully passing the ball out of a double team. However, Harden's reluctance to attempt catch-and-shoot threes is not the only issue. He also possesses a totally different skill set than Embiid is accustomed to using. And at number 1, an ISO-heavy ball game plan. Harden is a player who prefers to spend most of his time alone with his possessions. During the 2015 season, Harden's isolations accounted for 33.3% of his possessions, averaging 9.5 a game. He has been ineffective in this area, with a 40.5% field goal percentage on 7.5 shots per game. Harden has scored an average of 10.25 points a game in isolation this season, accounting for 33.9% of his total scoring output. He likes to have at least 3 of his teammates standing behind the three-point line while he's in isolation, since this gives him an additional area to get a decent look at the hoop. For example, during the 2017-2018 season, Chris Paul, Eric Gordon, and PJ Tucker combined to take over 47.5% of their shots from beyond the arc, averaging at least 3.8 attempts per game. At first, and hit that notification bell so you can see every video. We'll see you guys next time.